Is Kaepernick's career over to you?
You know what? At this point, I'm moving to where I will be shocked if any team does sign him. When Joe Webb is getting a job, when Brock Osweiler is being celebrated in his return to Denver, I'm starting to think the league has moved on from Colin Kaepernick, and I don't blame him. I think everyone else thinks this is fantasy football, and the most talented guy. He should be in the league. The league has never been that. There's a whole package of things that executives, coaches evaluate, and Colin does check some of the boxes. Athletic, is he one of the top 40 quarterbacks in the league? Probably. But there's some other boxes he doesn't check, clearly, being a distraction, being a polarizing figure, doing something that irritates your fan base, bringing a conversation into your locker room that not everybody wants to have. He doesn't check those boxes, and the NFL's moved on. I'd be shocked if he gets a job.
Though I've always thought he's going to sign. Desperation changes a lot of ideology. Like if you're an owner or a GM and you're 7-6 and you're knocking on the door and your quarterback goes down. But I will say one thing I've noticed. For about 5 months, you could not be anti-Kaepernick on the internet. It was pro-Kaepernick space. Then Shady McCoy, Tony Romo, Bill Cowher. Then he has that protest where Susan Sarandon's the biggest star. I do feel like if I'm a GM or an owner, 4 months ago, people were saying bad things about me. This owner's this and that. I kind of feel like he lost momentum. I thought that New York City protest, it was on a busy weekend. Nobody really showed up. Poetry readings, an actress, no NFL stars to support him.
No football
I thought it weakened him, at least in the eyes of GM saying, yeah, that story's kind of over. I can kind of go do my own thing now. I really did think it weakened him.
I think he has an opportunity to get back in the league. I don't think it's over. Reason being is that you can look at a list of names of the starting quarterbacks coming into week one. And there are some guys you look at on that list and say, wow, he's starting. I think some of these guys, the worst thing that could possibly happen to them as backups is happening. They have to play. And when you play, it's going to show up on film. And once it shows up on film that you really just can't do the job, those GMs, those head coaches, they're going to say, okay, wait, we might have to look at some other guys, which gives him an opportunity to get someone else looking at him if some of these guys play themselves out of the league.
I think he's done. I don't think he's ever coming back, and I'll tell you why. The old talent trumps morals. Okay, he's not talented enough at this point. What he put on tape last time he was playing, it wasn't good enough to be a starting quarterback. And I think the ownership and the teams, it's not worth the headache. If he was good enough, you can do whatever you want, honestly. You can say whatever you want, and it happens all the time in the league. We give players second chances, domestic abuse, drunk driving, all these things, these terrible things and crimes that players commit. But they get second chances in the league. For whatever reason, this has struck a chord in America, and a lot of Americans say, if this guy's on your team, I'm not going to your game. So if you're in ownership, is it really worth having a guy who's not going to come in and make that big of an impact? Of course he's good enough. He's talented. We lost to him in the NFC Championship game. This guy can play. But at this point, if you're not a starting quarterback, an upper-level starting quarterback, it's not worth the headache from an ownership standpoint. They don't want that. They don't want that going on in the locker room. And as sad as it to say, now you look at the issue of, is it okay for domestic abuse? We'll let him back in, but we're not going to let him who's actually speaking up for a political message. That's not okay. In fact, that will get you banned from the league. It's such a dicey thing, and this is why it's so fascinating, and it's such great cooler room talk, and we talk about this and it's been going on forever and ever and ever, and we'll probably keep talking about it, but that's what makes it so fascinating.
You know what, Tony, but 16-4 with the 90% quarterback rating is actually good enough when you look at some of these guys that are playing.
But it's not worth that.
That's why I still think on the worst team in the league.
I agree.
You know, that's not easy for me to say talking about the Niners, but they were the worst team in the league, not Cleveland. They were the worst team in the league.
16-4.
No. When I'm talking about with the talent based that around him, and we talk about guys all the time. You give Andrew Luck the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't have a talent base around him to do what he's capable of doing. Yeah, but I'm still talking about what he's capable of doing. I'm not saying this guy is Andrew Luck, but I'm saying we give other guys the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying give this guy the benefit of the doubt that he could still play if he had more around it.
Here's the question, though, if you're Kaepernick, if you're Kaepernick support, a team has to feel like, can this guy help us win postseason games? That's the only reason to sign Kaepernick. If you're just trying to get to 8-8 or have a 6-10 season, why be bothered with Kaepernick and all the headaches?
I agree.
And so now you have teams sitting out there, oh, Kaepernick, could he be the difference in January? And I don't, at 29, at this point, what we've seen on tape the last 2 years, no one is sitting there thinking he's the difference in January.
Well, what Colin said earlier, if you are a team that's on the cusp and you're looking at some of these guys that are going to be starting as backups, and you're saying, if my guy goes down and I need someone to win a game in December, that's going to get me to January. If I need someone to win me 1 or 2 games, do I believe in these guys, or do I think that guy that beat him in the NFC Championship game could possibly show up? That's why I think he'll still get a shot.
Somebody told me this years ago. They said the only way you can make older rich people listen is to challenge their net worth or their life. Like, stop smoking or you'll die, or stop doing this or you'll go broke. And suddenly stubborn rich guys listen. Listen, 7-6, 3 weeks to go. Say what you want. If you're looking at a playoff home date or a playoff game, people change their minds. That's why I say we can talk about records. If you're let's say Jay Cutler gets hurt. I mean, let's say Cam Newton gets hurt. You look around and you're like, does he fit our offense? I think ideologies change when you're staring at dollar signs or playoff potential.